Okay, so we are starting Chapter 5 in GoMath. We're going to be using the multiplication facts that we learned in Chapter 7 to help us solve problems in Chapter 5. So the first thing that we're going to do today is describe patterns. So we have an outdoor club. They're planning a camping trip. Each camper will need a flashlight. One flashlight uses 4 batteries. How many batteries are needed for 8 flashlights? So if we take a look, we have a pattern here that we're going to be following, and we have a table to help us with that. So we can use this table to help us figure out how many batteries we will need for all of our 8 flashlights. So here we have flashlight 1. So I can kind of picture them laying out in a row. Flashlight 1 takes 4 batteries. So picture your flashlight and 4 batteries beneath it. Flashlight 2 has 8, 3 has 12, and so on. Okay, so we're going to think, how can we describe these patterns? So first, I can describe the pattern going across the rows so that I see 1, 2, 3, and those are the numbers of my flashlight. Okay, so I'm going to look at that as I go through. So then I'm going to notice every flashlight has, I'm seeing what pattern is followed here. Well, I notice that if I add 4 to 4, I would get 8. And let's see if I could add 4 to 8 to get 12. I could. And I notice that pattern keeps going. 16 plus 4 equals 20. 20 plus 4 equals 24, and so on. So I'm going to be adding 4 batteries each time I add a flashlight. So then I'm going to think, okay, well, I could add 4 to 28 now, right here, because I know that I have the 7 flashlights here. They need 28 batteries. Now I'm going to have an 8th flashlight because my problem here says that I have 8 total. How many batteries would that be then? So I know I have to add another 4 to that. And so I would need 32 batteries then in all for all of my flashlights. Okay, so when you're looking at the patterns today, make sure you're looking across. Usually the ones at the top are just numbering how many flashlights there are. And then you're going to look to see what the pattern is going up. Okay, now there's another way we can look at patterns. The first way we described going across the rows, but now we can also look at the columns going down. So we can look at the pattern by comparing the columns in the table. So I'm going to think, how are 1 and 4 related? 2 and 8, 3 and 12, and this pattern is going to follow the same rule for each one. So can you figure out what we did for each one? So when I do this, I can think, okay, maybe it's adding. Let's think, how much would I need to add to 1 to get 4, 3? But I notice 2 plus 3 is 5. And 3 plus 3 is 6. So that's not following the right pattern. So I could try subtracting. Maybe take 1 away from 4. That would be 3. But then 8 take away 2 would be 6. That's not really following a good pattern. So maybe I'll try multiplication. Can I multiply the top number by a certain number to get the bottom number? So let's think, if 1 would go in the machine, if I'd multiply by 4, let's say, I'd get 4. Let's see if that follows for the next one. 2 times 4 equals 8. 3 times 4 equals 12. 4 times 4 equals 16. And if I were to keep going, that pattern holds true. And it even holds true, of course, at the end where we said we had needed 32 batteries. 8 times 4 is 32. So we found our pattern. We were multiplying by 4 as we go through the columns. So we would still get the same answer of 32. Okay, so those are 2 ways that you can look at your patterns today when you're solving problems. You can go across in the rows or look down in your columns. So now let's try another one. So now we're going to describe the pattern and we're going to complete the table. Right away I noticed that this table is a little bit different. My other table, the numbers were spread out across rows. And now I see that we kind of have a lot of rows going down. So we're kind of working side to side this way here. And we're also going to be looking at the different rows. Okay, so we have the campers and they need 5 packs of batteries. If there are 8 batteries in each pack, how many batteries will be in 5 packs? So let's take a look at our chart here. We have packs of batteries here. So battery pack 1, I'm picturing that. Battery pack 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So I have 5 battery packs lined up and they each have 8 in them. So this pack has 8, then there's another 8, there's another 8. So in the end, I have 5 groups of 8. Okay, so let's see if I can find a pattern. So first, let's try going down. Okay, so I know I have 8 in each. So let's see, if I add 8 to 8, would I get 16? I would. So let's try to add 8 to 16, and we'd get 24. Now let's try adding 8 to 24. Would we get 32? We would. Let's add 8 to 32. Go ahead and tell me what you had for that. 32 plus 8? 40. So now we know that we can add 8 batteries every time we have a pack, which certainly makes sense because there are 8 batteries in each pack. So now we can use multiplication. We're going to describe the pattern. Let's try going this way. Now, I noticed in my first problem, we had the same number, 4 and 4. So we added 4 this way and we multiplied by 4. Let's see if it would hold true for this. Let's see if we could multiply by 8. So is 1 times 8, 8? Yes. Is 2 times 8, 16? Certainly. Is 3 times 8, 24? We found our pattern. So we can multiply the number of packs of batteries by 8. So there will be, in the end, we have to answer our final question here. How many batteries will be in 5 packs? Here's our 5th pack. We will have 40. Okay, good job finding those patterns. So now we're going to go to our last section, the share and show section. So we're going to figure out how we can describe a pattern to find the cost of 4 packs of batteries. So I always take a look at the labels of my chart first. I have the packs of batteries here. So here's battery pack 1, 2, 3, 4. Picture yourself there with 4 packs of batteries there. They each cost $3. So pack 1 is $3. If I'd get 2 packs, it would be 6. 3 packs would be 9. So now we have to figure out, how would we describe this pattern to help us find the cost of the 4 battery packs? Okay, so let's take a look at this. I'm noticing if we skip count by 3s, 3, 6, 9, I see that's increasing. And if I were to keep going, I'd get to $12 here. And it's following my same pattern. Okay, so we have our $12. So now we have to describe. Anytime we have the word describe in there, I know that we're going to be writing. So I'm going to put, I will add $3 for each pack of batteries. Now that's just one way I can figure it out. Remember, adding was one way, but we can also multiply. So we can look at our columns. And if just like the other patterns in our other tables, if we multiplied by 3, we also could get the answer. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. So we could also write that. So we'll kind of do 2 parts to this. So I can also multiply the number of packs. So that's here, right here, the number of packs by $3. And that's how I could get my answer also. So I could have multiplied 4 times 3 to get 12. So that's how I would describe the table there. So let's go down to the next section. Let's describe the pattern for these tables, and then we have to complete the table. So let's take a look. We have tenths here. So I'm noticing that each tenth, this is kind of tricky because it doesn't start at 1. So let's say we have 2 tenths. We're at tenth 2 now. Tenth 2 we need 4 lanterns. Now let's follow this though. There's no number up here. So think tenth 1 would have to have how many? Because now that we're at tenth 2, so picture 7 tenths laid out, we need 4 lanterns. So let's follow this pattern. 4, 6, 8, 10. So how is that increasing? If you said by 2, you are correct. So I'm thinking I have to add 2 lanterns for each tenth. Could I also multiply? Let's see. Multiply the number of tenths by 2. And let's see if that works. 2 times 2 equals 4. 3 times 2 equals 6. So that's another way that I could use, I could describe this table. So multiply the number of tenths by 2. So there are two different ways that we can solve these, multiplying and adding. So let's figure out our pattern. If I know I'm adding 2, I count up from 10. So we have 12 and 14. So in the end, we're going to need 14 lanterns. On our last one, so now we have adults here. So adult number 1, then we have a second adult. So picture that, 5 adults lined up. And for each adult, they have 6 campers that they're working with. So let's describe this pattern. So I see I'm adding 6 each time. 6 plus 6 equals 12. 12 plus 6 equals 18. So I'm going to add 6 campers for each adult. And let's see if I can multiply. Can I multiply the number of adults by 6? Let's see. 1 times 6 equals 6. Let's see, would this work? 2 times 6 equals 12. 3 times 6 equals 18. Yes. So I can do that also. So multiply the number of adults by 6. And so let's fill in our table. So 4 times 6, 6 is 24. And then we have 5 times 6 to get 30. So in the end, there will be 30 campers and 5 adults. Very good describing these patterns with me today. So look very carefully today with your patterns when you're solving your work on the Google form. Make sure you're following the labels and you're looking for the patterns going across your table and also vertically down your table. Okay, and good luck. If you have any questions, you know you can message me in Schoology.